Right, so this is the last day that I'm going to be working on this. Exciting. I'm doing the wiring, the soldering, which hasn't always been my favorite part. In fact, it will never be my favorite part. But it's becoming more tolerable as I get more accustomed to doing it. I got a hot tip from one of my viewers, Troy G. Now, this solder contains a small amount of flux, which is an acid which makes things flow and work better. But at Troy's suggestion, I have started using some soldering paste, which I think I think contains flux. I don't know if it does. I don't know much about this stuff, but anyway, the soldering paste is really making things flow even better. And my soldering is almost what I would call a clean job now, which is something. It's not my strong suit still. I'm even brave enough to show you. So that looks okay. I think if anything, the wires don't need to be as long as they are. That's just kind of an ease thing for me, because when they're long like that and you've got lots of room, you can move one out of the way while you're doing another solder joint. The cleanest jobs that I've seen have got very short wires. But anyway, that's perfectly acceptable to me, given my skill level. So I just need to design a cover for this. I've also noticed that, this has obviously been sitting around for some time, and there are some splotches of things on the back of the guitar. So I'll give that a clean up. I may use some steel wool for that, and I'll re-oil it. Well, all the frets are good now, which is great. And I would be tempted just to finish this thing as quickly as possible in the name of getting it across the line, but there is a problem, and I really ought to fix it. As the first string comes over the fret, it angles that way slightly, which it should never do. And the reason for that is, as you may be able to see, that tuner there is not aligned with the others. It's too far this way. It needs to be just a couple of millimeters really that way. And I should fix that. So I should remove it, plug that hole, re-drill, and install that again. Every time I've done this sort of repair with epoxy, I've always been able to see the dark ring, but I don't know that I can help that. But as I have said, that will be largely covered on both sides of the headstock. Okay, well that looks like a success. I shouldn't speak too soon, I still have to re-drill, but I'll do that now. One new hole. Now, although most of the work that I've done here, moving the hole for the tuner, will be covered, some of it won't be. And if you're looking closely, you're going to notice that something has happened. But I want to minimize the impact. And one of the things that's obvious about what I've done is that the plugs are just made of one piece of wood from the tawa. I could have laminated some tawa to some rosewood, then cut a plug using that. In retrospect, maybe I should have, but I didn't. And so as a result, you've got tawa, the tawa plug, overlapping some of the rosewood. So what I'm going to do, and I don't know how well this will turn out. The rosewood isn't very dark right now, but as you saw when it was under oil, it was much darker and the contrast was more prominent. So I've got some dye, coloured red-brown, which is pretty much the colour that I would use to describe rosewood. And I've just masked off an area there. That looks darker than the rosewood, but it won't. Once there's oil on there, the rosewood will be much darker than it is now. Okay, you're seeing things from my point of view for once, as I put the oil on over that die that I've just laid down. The dye appears a bit brighter than the oil. But it's, probably the closest colour that I have. Ah, well. Yeah, I really wanted one that was less red and more simply brown, I suppose. Could be a lot worse, and you're only going to see it from a distance, maybe, if you stand far away. I played each string over all the frets when I put each string on, but now that all the strings are on together, and the neck was under the appropriate tension, I straightened the neck with the truss rod. I really should have done that sooner, because it just looks like, or at least it seems like, I hadn't even leveled the frets. Maybe I just forgot, because it's been a long time since I started building this guitar and made the neck. I could have just forgotten that I never leveled the frets, because I'm having to do so much leveling now. It's awkward because I don't want to take the strings off, because that might sacrifice a set of strings. So anyway, I'm taking the fret rocker across all the frets and leveling them as necessary. Now, up until there, they're nice and level, until we get to the 13th, where all of a sudden, a slight rock develops. That's because the rocker is falling down to the 13th, which is lower than the 12th. That's by design, so it's going to look like some leveling is required there, but it's not. So really what I need to do is leap from there, where I'm measuring the 11th fret, to over here, where I'm measuring the 14th fret. Because from the 13th fret onwards, I've intentionally made them slightly shorter than the frets further down. So, let's carry on. Now, doing a fretting job, leveling and crowning, will inevitably dirty slightly and make some small marks on the fretboard. I'm not good enough to avoid that yet. So what I'm going to do is try this out. It's not switched on. Here we go. It's a buffing wheel that goes into your hand drill. And I'm going to do a cut polish on the frets and the fretboard. I figure it couldn't do any damage. This is usually what I do now, once I've got the frets in and they're all done. Previously, I've used the polishing machine with the foam pads, so I'm just using a different delivery, but it's similar. I liken it to brushing teeth. So I put the paste on first. I figure it's going to make a bit of a mess, actually. Maybe I should do something to guard against this. Yeah, not doing any harm. Looks good. Especially the frets, they're gleaming. Yes, I was wise to put the apron on and to tape everything off that I don't want mucky, because, polishing compound is going everywhere. Cutting compound, I should say. It's difficult to see, just looking into the camera here, how much you can appreciate the smooth, shiny surface, but if you can see what I can see, you'll know why I wish to do this next time I build a guitar. I've taken the string retainer bar off for a moment, Did I mention earlier or not? I forget that I put a black one on there, but actually I want a silver one, which will match the tuners. I have ordered a couple. I don't know how long it'll take for them to get here, especially with the country being in lockdown. So I just sanded the black one down. I may polish that up a bit smoother. I might not. It actually looks all right. Yeah. Maybe impatience is the mother of invention. I was just about to drill holes, one there, one there-ish, to screw in the buttons to hold the strap, but I think I might actually hold off and get some nicer buttons, maybe some locking things. That's not urgent, that can wait. I can still demo the guitar in the meantime, which is now otherwise finished. And that retainer bar came out looking really good. Slightly brushed finish. I could polish it some more, but I kind of like that. So let's see how this sounds. Well, I suppose that's that. Broken Elm is a finished guitar. Well, I say that. I am going to make a couple of very small tweaks. While I was playing it, I realized that I needed to make a couple of those slots in the nut a little bit deeper. And that actually is a problem that I notice in some guitars that come out of the factory. That adjustment needs to be made, and you notice it when you play an A chord and you realize, gosh, that third string sounds really sharp. It sounds awful. That's what's going on there. So I'll fix that. But other than that, it's done. And it's not a great time to be finishing guitars. Where, as I mentioned earlier in the video, the country is in lockdown. We will be for a few more weeks at least. But if you catch this video in time and you would like to buy this guitar, the logistics of getting a guitar into another country seem too big for me at the moment. But if you're in New Zealand and you'd like to buy this, I will be listing it online, so you may have to get in quick. Then let's talk. But it's very satisfying indeed to have finished this. It's definitely the prettiest guitar that I've made. All right, on to something else.